Oh yeah.
It's comfy. You got the comfier part of the.
Is this the worn-in part?
Yeah.
I might need to scoot this thing a little bit closer.
Okay. Do it without shoving yourself in your face. Alright.
I can't make any promises. What's up, man?
Hello.
It's been a little while.
It's been 5 months.
To the day?
No. Like 4 and change.
So you just looked up our last upload.
Yes.
And it was 5 months ago.
Yeah, it's like August 29th, I think. Something like that.
Did you happen to catch which episode we're on?
No.
Episode to be determined. Of to be determined. Stand by while I research.
It's episode 1 of 2019.
It is. New year, new show.
Yeah.
New year, new me. Actually, it's the second day of the... No, it's the first day of the Chinese New Year.
Yep.
Or second day of the... I don't know.
Our podcast has officially lost like 180 pounds or so. Without...
Oh, yeah,
Mateo
without...
here.
Mateo, yeah. He is currently, employed because this doesn't pay the bills, so he's currently working.
So this is a 2-man operation for a while?
It is. Let's see if I can find this. Oh, no, it's struggling.
Yeah. But we're continuing to record on Wednesdays. His schedule got changed, so unfortunately, unless we change schedule, which is a potential too, we will move forward without Mateo, except for special occasions.
Special occasions. But we may, I don't know, we'll see what the viewership of this podcast is. If we lose viewers without Mateo, maybe we should bring him back.
I mean, it'd be really easy to tell if we lost viewers or not.
Yeah, if it goes from 6 views to 5.
Yeah.
This is officially episode 11 of the NTX Podcast.
No fucking way, it's 11.
It's episode 11. Although there's some contingency about the early episodes, it is officially episode 11 because this will be the 11th upload.
Okay. TBD, this is the 11th episode.
Oh, are we going back to be determined?
No.
So yeah, how you been, man?
Pretty good. How about you?
Can't complain. We got through all of the fall, all of football season.
Yeah, the roller coaster of emotion and shit. I can't recall specifically what our predictions were, but while my predictions started off well, I think I was like saying we're going to be 5-11.
Yeah.
We ended up 10-6. We started off like 1-5, so.
Yeah, I was wrong because my prediction was 8-8. How we got there, I didn't really care. It was basically the next game we won, the next game we lost, the next game we won.
Yeah.
So I was definitely wrong from that front.
We were both wrong.
I believe Mateo was the most correct.
However, we sit here with no playoff wins still. We have the same head coach. Anyway, that's the Cowboys. We'll get there another time. Football season's over. But we did want to talk about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and what a just glorious travesty dumpster fire.
Yeah, it seems like the football season ended 2 weeks earlier than everybody anticipated because the Pro Bowl was garbage as usual, and the Super Bowl was pretty bad in itself.
I mean, even the people that don't watch football, but everybody watches the Super Bowl. They were all saying that was the most boring game ever.
It was pretty bad. I mean, in San Francisco versus Baltimore, the lights went out, and it was still a better game.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think up until halftime, the only thing that you had to count on was Maroon 5 was going to be on the fucking halftime show.
And Sweet Victory was going to get played.
Yeah, and there was a field goal, So it's basically a hockey game or a soccer game.
It definitely was. Did you see all that shenanigans about Sweet Victory?
No.
So there was a bit in a SpongeBob SquarePants episode where they're playing the halftime show of the SpongeBob universe equivalent of the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know the background of it, but I think they were supposed to be terrible, and it turns out that SpongeBob can fucking wail.
Okay.
And he comes out with this very 80s sounding song called Sweet Victory.
Sweet Victory, yeah.
And it's kind of, that Bikini Bottom Twitter, the SpongeBob Reddit.
Yeah.
That thing was going crazy about it because the creator of SpongeBob died this year. And either the NFL or Maroon 5 hinted that they were going to play Sweet Victory during the halftime show.
Oh, really?
And they didn't. Instead, they teased like the 6 or 7 second clip before Sweet Victory gets played. And then it cuts into, is it Travis
Scott?
Travis Scott,
yeah.
And Reddit exploded.
Oh, yeah.
But because they didn't play the song, or they didn't play the video, or they didn't give them the homage that they were all thinking was going to happen. And my favorite part about this and why it's become something that I've actually followed is somebody found out that the Dallas Stars production, like the video board people, played Sweet Victory.
Oh, yeah, it was on Reddit. Like, the moment it happened, Reddit was all over it.
And so Reddit is now officially fans of Dallas Stars, or at least Bikini Bottom is.
So we're kind of homers, but if there's one thing that the Dallas Stars have over the rest of Dallas sports media, and maybe like on a national basis, they're known for their arena media, like their memes on the Jumbotron, their jokes. So it was just another affirmation of what I already knew.
Yeah, they're the best AV team in sports.
Yeah,
that's my hot sports opinion, my bold claim. And you know what? You can take that to the cleaners.
Didn't they projected it on the ice too, right?
Yeah, so they used one of those, the thing that came out a couple years in the Stanley Cup, where it's like a projector that covers the entire ice. Mm-hmm. And right over the logo, it opened up, and then like they projected SpongeBob coming up, and then they played the rest of it on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I just love that. How many people were all about the Dallas Stars after the NFL let them down?
Yeah. Can't say enough about how shitty the game was. Sorry for the car alarm.
We're in the city. We're deep in the urban jungle.
I won't tell you where we are, but I think that the background noise speaks for itself.
But yeah, no, that game was just a straight dumpster fire. And you're someone who understands the X's and O's of football more than I ever could.
A little bit, yeah.
But in your opinion, I mean, it was a trash game. It wasn't like really good defense. It was inept offense.
So it kind of was good defense. But it's still at the end of the day, McVay just got outcoached. Like. Yeah. The things that Belichick was doing made it like it wasn't the kind of defensive game where you see Goff get sacked 20 times and there's just picks everywhere. Like whenever Denver was really good or whenever Seattle was really good, that was kind of the kind of football we saw with those really good defenses. It was just more about scheming and make it so that Goff really couldn't make a throw. And to be honest, Tom didn't make a whole lot of throws either.
No.
I mean, if we'd have seen a lot of sacks, a lot of fumbles, we'd see a couple fumbles and a pick early on, but it just
didn't work. What, when was the last time that a wide receiver was the MVP of the Super Bowl?
So, I can't say it's the last time, but the last time I can remember was Deion Branch.
Deion Branch?
Yeah. There may have been other times, but it happened on the Patriots before. And honestly, like I feel like that happens whenever. Oh my god, that was a bad one. Whenever like you have a really shitty game overall. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people debating that it shouldn't have gone to Edelman. I think that's fucking crazy. I don't really see any other person he should have gone to.
Yeah, there was nobody that really stood out. How many? He had like 130 yards, didn't he?
I mean, we're speaking out of ignorance. We don't have numbers in front of us. This isn't a sports podcast, but he played a really good game.
He did. And I mean, I noticed it. I was like, Tom is just barely getting the ball where it needs to be. and then Edelman's doing everything he can to make it matter.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, any of yards that he had, they weren't, no offense to Gronk or anybody else, but they weren't like Gronk going deep and catching the ball. They were him maybe getting it 5 yards out, maybe 10 yards out, and then doing work with it. So
I believe the statistical term for that is the yards after catch.
Well, yes. Okay, thank you. I would call them blue-collar yards.
Earned yards?
Yeah.
Well, isn't it... So is the official term yards after catch, but then everyone adopts it as yards after contact to make it more football?
No, because yards after contact is a little bit different. Because that's like if you, Marion Barber got hit in the backfield and then ran for 100 yards. He had 104 yards.
High-stepping from his demons?
Yeah, running from them demons.
Yeah, I miss Marion Barber. I wonder where that guy is now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had a signature from him.
Did you?
Yeah, came from one of my sister's friends in college. She was working at a pet store, and Marion Barber came in to buy a puppy, and she got it signed on like a piece of pet store branded paper.
Interesting. Y'all got any dogs that spot demons? Sorry, we always thought that the way that Marion Barber ran with his high-stepping ways looked like he was running away from demons trying to grab his feet. And yes, we were always drinking whenever this came up.
100%. That's also where the term sea hands came from. It was definitely the alcohol.
Yes, but he did have sea hands.
Patrick Creighton.
Yeah. Another disappointing thing about the Super Bowl so far, or I'd say so far, at least to me overall, the commercials were kind of lackluster.
They were, and it's always interesting. The whole concept, and this has probably been talked to death on news and every forum post or whatever. That like I don't watch for the football. I watch for the commercials. But or I guess it should be. I don't watch for the football. I watch for the commercials. Is that sexist?
Yeah.
I take it back. I do actually watch it equally. Like a lot of times I don't care about the football, but the commercials are actually entertaining. If like advertisers put as much effort into general commercials, I wouldn't be DVRing and skipping them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this year, I don't know. Like there's such a high bar from years past of like Super Bowl greatness.
So is it just confirmation bias? I don't know if that's the right term, but when we were growing up, I feel like that was the times where the commercials were the funniest to me. So we had like the Budweiser frogs.
Yeah.
We had at least to me, I love those commercials. That was the height of Super Bowl advertising.
Do you remember the Tabasco one with the mosquito? Where the guy puts like Tabasco on like a chip or a hot dog or something. He takes a bite and then a mosquito lands on him, sucks his blood, flies off and explodes. That's one that's always stuck with me that I thought was hilarious.
Yeah. Now we just get Puppy Monkey Baby and Baby Robot. And
do you think it's a sign of the culture that like we as a society have gotten dumber, so they make the commercials dumber because that's what people talk about and find funny?
I mean, I can't say that they were the most intellectual commercials. Like, Budweiser was 3 frogs, and I think one year they killed the frogs, but they survived, and they were the deceptive lizards. It just so.
I can't help it. It's so stupid. I love it.
But, I don't know. It just the really only the saving grace these days, in my opinion, is that usually there's at least one or two with all big sport events. There's a big movie trailer that comes out.
Did you watch that Avengers one?
Yes, I did.
Oh, man. I am so hype for that fucking thing.
There were a lot of people. So, yes, I was too. There were a lot of people that are pissed because they showed it like right before the kickoff. So people that didn't turn on the game yet but were waiting for the Avengers commercial had to watch the entire shit show before they realized they already showed it. But
that's smart.
Yeah,
that's smart.
I'm stoked, man. Like it's hard to believe that shit's just wrapping up.
Yeah. Well, there's still another phase after this, isn't there? I think this is the end of the Infinity War.
But this is I don't know. So they're getting rid of phases. We can go on about that anytime. But
why not?
Allegedly, they're getting rid of the phase system. So after this, they're supposed to go into like a scope concept or something, like where there's gonna be like a street level, or that's gonna be like your Spider-Man and some of those guys, and there's gonna be like a cosmic level, which is like it was supposed to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but with Sean Gunn or whatever, James Gunn.
Yeah.
Gone. They don't know about that, but
yeah, I could see that. Like, it's almost like, you remember the conversation we had a while ago about how I was pissed off that they were rebooting Batman after the Dark Knight trilogy?
Yeah.
But after I saw Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, I've really understood why they did it. Because in the Dark Knight universe or iteration canon of Batman, a god can't exist in real life, and that's kind of what Superman is. Like, he's an alien from outer space. Like, it's very supernatural, extraterrestrial. Like, the Dark Knight trilogy, and part of the reason why it was so good is because it was something that could happen. Like, it's advanced. You didn't have to suspend as much disbelief in that universe.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I see what they're doing there. Like,
they kind of removed like any kind of surreal aspect. Like, you didn't even know how the Joker became the Joker. There's no falling into, chemical tanks or anything like that. But yeah, so I agree with you there.
No origin story. That is very true. That's something I just realized. The Heath Ledger Joker just becomes. Like, he has no origin.
He like explains to multiple people how he got them scars, and they're all different lives.
How I got these scars.
But yeah, I mean, the most unrealistic person, Bane, right?
Yeah.
In that case, but
most supernatural. God, Bane was such a badass. Did you ever watch Bane Cat?
What?
Bane Cat? It was a YouTube video.
No.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Anybody that's listening to this, all three of you, go watch Bane Cat. Even if you've already seen it, it's so funny. Fat cat, right? Yeah, it's the fat cat where this guy just like puts a Bane mask on his cat and then starts doing the Bane voice.
Yeah.
That guy became kind of a pretty big YouTube sensation and then didn't follow it up with anything, and then he fell into the dumpster.
Alright. Could have, would have, should have.
I turned my head and blocked it.
But I heard it all.
It's these mics.
Yeah.
Back to we can't leave the Super Bowl without bringing in the Dallas tie-in of this is the first time Tony Romo went to a Super Bowl.
It is.
And you know what? Even my former coworker who was an Eagles fan, she even messaged me and was like, I actually like Romo now.
Yeah, man. That was probably one of the last saving graces from making me turn off that fucking football game. I mean, I did leave your place at halftime, but if I had to listen to Chris Collinsworth talk for that entire shit show, I would have lost my fucking mind. But Romo was the over-under, I think, on the bit bets or whatever, was he would predict 1.5 plays before they were snapped, and he hit that like in the first quarter.
I know, he was doing that. I especially near the end, whenever like Romo was his best.
Yeah.
In his playing career, he was like, all right, this is what they're going to do, this is what they're going to do. I mean, it was during the season.
Yeah.
Whenever he like correctly called a 2-minute drill, exactly what was going to happen, but he also called what the defense was going to do and predicted how the drive was going to go.
Yeah.
Like, that level of intelligence doesn't exist in sportscasters.
I think there was one series and they're in the hurry up as the Patriots, and he was like, after the second play, he's like, they just ran the same play. They're going to run it again. And they did.
He's the Jedi. We weren't worthy of him.
Yeah.
And I know that I didn't have anything to do with it, but, just Dallas fans in general, the way they treated him while we had him.
Man, that was the most surprising thing when I moved here, is like, I moved down to Dallas. I was like, yes, I'm finally going to be with Dallas fans growing up, where I did. And, it's just going to be so much harmony. And then, like, just the Dallas area, as far as fans and in Romo especially, it was It sucked.
Yeah, it did.
Let's put John Kitna in.
The only time that I ever said that was when we got Dak, and that was or like later in Tony Romo's career, where it's kind of like you could see that he's getting hurt, and it's almost like a pity thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, oh man, like at any play he could, like his spine could shoot out his ass and he's never gonna walk again, but he'll keep playing.
Yeah.
There was one season where he finished a game with like a punctured lung, right?
So he left like the locker room after they took him out, and then like we won that game in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fucking badass.
That man is a warrior, and anyone who says that Romo sucks or that Romo was bad, like, get the fuck out. You're not a real Cowboys fan. You don't know what you had. And they're starting to see it now because they're like, look, we just got another one. Look at Dak. And in his second and third year, we're going into the fourth next season. He's pedestrian. He's in the middle of the fucking road. And, Romo was at least upper middle class whenever it comes to, quality of quarterbacks at the very least.
There were 8-8 years where we were not 8-8 teams. We were 4-12 teams, and you see him broadcasting it every day. Like, he's making those adjustments, and you're seeing what this team can't do without a Romo that was running that offense.
And there's even people that like hate Romo, like my old coworker hated Romo, and now she's like, he's the best sportscaster there is. I wish that Romo was calling all the games.
Yeah.
So it shows in his second year of broadcasting, he's doing the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's I don't know, but to bring it back, the reason why I brought Romo up is the joke that like the opening salvo with Collinsworth and Romo and was it Collinsworth or the other guy?
No. So they separated, and I think that's why they did the Super Bowl is they separated by broadcast companies. So on Fox, Troy and Joe Buck will do the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
On NBC, that's when we'll get Collinsworth.
Yeah.
But I can't believe I can't think. He does the golf.
The Masters guy.
I can't believe I can't think of him.
Anyway,
but yeah.
Yeah, he says, "Welcome to the Super Bowl, Tony Romo." And Tony said, "I've been waiting to hear that my whole life."
Yeah.
I backed it up while we were watching it because I was just like,
"Oh yeah,
that hurts so bad." Because that man should have had it because Dez fucking caught it.
Dez fucking caught it.
Dez
gets signed as a free agent. He never plays a snap for that team because he tears his ACL, whatever, his Achilles, right?
Yeah.
And that team gets fucked in the playoffs too.
Seriously, what the fuck?
By no call. But yeah. One of the few rewarding commercials that we did see. We expected them to bury dilly down our throats and the Bud Night, but one took that pretty interesting turn.
You know what's funny? Like, I went back and watched that commercial after the fact with, like, headphones.
Yeah.
They start playing The Reigns of Castamere whenever the mountain shows up. Yeah,
no.
So, they were teasing it forward until, like, most people didn't realize it until the dragon flew in.
Yeah.
But I saw it whenever the mountain got off the horse. I was like, that's the fucking mountain!
Speaking of, sorry. Reigns of Castamere. It's a very funny bit when you play it at your wedding, but expect the people that can recognize it and know what it is to kind of panic. And if that's what your targeted response is, good on you. But that happened to us over the weekend. Recognize that song immediately at a wedding. And yeah.
Yeah, I got scolded by my wife. Because I realized the bit, and I was talking to the groom, our buddy Goose, and I looked at him. He had an evil look in his eye, and I just took off running and knocked my chair over.
Oh, yeah.
And
I saw it, yeah. Witnessed the whole thing.
I'm not a small man.
Oh, yeah.
And so it probably looked like Chris Farley running through a table. But my wife was like, "Why are you doing that? What's wrong with you? Are you too drunk?"
I thought it was the perfect reaction, and I know that it made the groom happy and the bride happy, and that's what they wanted, and that's what you gave them.
I did it for them.
But yeah.
Realistically, I should have committed to the bit and ran out the door, like panicked and like tried to unlock it and then run away.
Right. Just shake the doors.
But I gave him a good half second to 1 second of panic, which I know was the reaction that he wanted. I don't know if anybody else did it, but he just happened to be next to me. And I was like, he played this for a reason. I'm going to give it to him.
When I first recognized it, I was like, this is Rance Casimir. And I think it was the delayer right next to me. It's like, no, it's not. And I was like, this is.
It is. It was a weird version of it, but it definitely was.
But anyway, yeah, so the Mountain has potentially killed Bud Knight. I hope that ends, like, I hope that's how they kill that advertising line of Bud Light. It's done.
Can they keep it going, like, with Game of Thrones tie-ins?
That'd be, like, fucking White Walkers or just...
yeah, like Bud Ice.
Oh my god.
The White Walkers serving Bud Ice.
Yeah.
All right, so we've been shitting on the Super Bowl, we've been shitting on the commercials, but that is one of the single greatest, like, the cross promotions I've seen ever. I don't know anything that comes close to it that's so good, because you've got something that is, swept the nation, that you got people watching fantasy that you haven't seen since, like, the Lord of the Rings, and like The Hobbit.
Plus, like, we are fucking muscle memory conditioned every Sunday to see at least 10 Bud Light commercials with Dilly Dilly and Bud Knight, and then
to the pit of misery,
murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
it was so funny. The only thing I wish is that he had, and the Mountain currently does not talk, but I wish they had said something like, "And I squished his head just like this." And then they had the Squire doing the Martell scream when I'm watching it.
Oh yeah, I didn't even catch all that. I wanted to check it out.
Because the Viper's lover, sister, whatever the fuck she was,
Martell
was like face to hand or hand to face, like screaming and like whatever, and it's one of the Dilly guys is like
yeah, that was beautiful.
It was so good. And then you got the dragon flying over, and what was interesting is that the only character, I guess the dragon technically is a character, but the only character from Game of Thrones that was in it was the Mountain.
Yeah,
but everybody knew.
Yeah, that's beautiful. But we're like T-minus like 2 months.
Yeah,
Game of Thrones.
The final season. Well, the final season of the I don't know, what do you call this? The War of the Five Kings saga?
Sure. I mean, we can just call it.
Well, it's the Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, sure, that too.
But they're talking about bringing back other stuff, like the story of Dunk and Egg, and
they are developing. I'm sorry, a new show. It's not going to be. He said it's not going to be anything related to any of the current meta. So like the only thing I can think of is maybe they go do the Valyrians.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. It's not going to have Dan and Dan on it.
Really? The creators of this one. I can't blame them. They've been doing this for 10 years, because it was 2009 when it came out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or 2010?
It's been a minute.
No, 2000. It was 2010 or 2011 when they first released it. The whole world that George R. R. Martin created, that this story of Game of Thrones came out of, is almost as complex. Maybe not as complex than any of the Lord of the Ring nerds that hear this are probably going to yell at me, but almost as complex as J.R.R. Tolkien's.
I mean, he hasn't made languages.
He hasn't made languages, but he did. I mean, he released a book that like spells out the world of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, I will start to acknowledge and maybe credit him with that when he finishes it. Otherwise, he's just an asshole.
You know what the problem is?
Huh.
Like, it's the curse of success. It's the same thing that happened with
Realm?
No, True Detective. Where this guy had so long, and like his whole life leading up to, and everything that he'd ever experienced leading up to one story, and he put it together, worked on it, mastered it, and then it becomes popular, and you got to follow it up with a sequel.
Yeah, so this isn't his only work, and it's making me segue into another quick question. But have you ever heard of the show? It's on Sci-Fi. It's called Night Flyers.
Night Flyers?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was by George R. R. Martin 2. It's a science fiction show. So it has season 1 just came out. He can't officially be affiliated with it. Like he's not I think he's like maybe a producer, but he has no creative control over it because HBO's with it. But it's kind of science fiction. You know what it reminds me of is Event Horizon.
Really?
Yes. That's the closest comparison I can think to it. So, but that's why I asked. If you've heard of that, maybe check that out too.
Yeah.
We can have a different conversation. But yeah, for the most part, that's his baby. Mm-hmm. I guess where I kind of lose a little sympathy is he's doing all these other books.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man.
Well, maybe it's the, he became so successful and he doesn't know how to follow it up. So he's kind of stuck. And then you've got incredibly creative people like the producers of the show, Dan and Dan, right?
Yeah.
2 Dans, that have taken it, adapted it to film, and then now at this point expanded it even further than what the original creator has done. And he has to live up to that and make it better than what they did, right? Because now he can't make it exactly as the show's gone. Otherwise, then he's just plagiarizing what somebody else already took with his meta.
Yeah, and so I think he's safe there. Like, no offense to Dan Dan, I think they are great. And I'm sorry if we got the wrong names. They are great at adapting the book to the movie or the show. They've done a great job. When they've started to do their own stuff, once the subject matter kind of tailed out, I feel like the show's kind of gone downhill. We've had some good moments, like the Battle of the Bastards was fucking awesome. And but you've got like the Fellowship of the Ring that went north to get a fucking White Walker. And I don't know.
We got it wrong. It was David Benioff and D.B. Weiss.
D&D.
D&D. So not Dan and Dan, D&D.
Just fucking go back and erase all that. But yeah.
I'll give you that, but I guess the part of the show that I'm loving is the payoff of all the fan theories. And I think at this point, like these books have been studied so much that the internet forums wrote the next seasons. Because all of the fan theories that everyone was, the R plus L equals J.
Yeah, which is just more fucking, just finish it so that we cannot do that.
Yeah, I agree. And man, that payoff whenever they actually did it, like I've gone back and watched that scene so many times it's embarrassing because it's
so fucking badass.
So good. Last season, was it last season that came out or was it the season before that?
Dude, I don't know. It's been over a year already, so.
Yeah, I don't know, but man, that was such a powerful moment.
Yeah,
it was the year before because it was the Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah,
and you know how I remember that? It was Beard's bachelor party. Whenever we got back home, and it was the season premiere when we found out that Jon Snow lives.
I don't remember what we did.
New Orleans.
Oh,
we came back from Bourbon Street. Everybody was drunk as shit, and we're all watching that.
Yeah, you're right.
And the last thing I saw before I went to bed was Jon Snow waking up. And I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Oh yeah. Yeah. I went home early and watched it.
Oh, yeah, you son of a bitch! Everybody knew it was happening.
I had problems.
Did you see the show? Or sorry, there's a clip where after that came out, Kit Harington, the actor, he got pulled over for speeding, and the cop was going to give him a ticket, but then the cop said, "You still alive in the show?" And so that was like the only person outside of the show that knew.
Nice. But so we've got to hold off a couple more weeks for Game of Thrones. So right now, we've been cautiously excited about True Detective coming back.
Yep.
You and I were both huge fans of the first season. Probably one of the better shows on HBO at the time. The second season, not last season, but second season we were pretty underwhelmed.
Yeah, 100% underwhelmed. And we gave it every opportunity to be good. And there's still some memes and jokes and good times and laughs that came out of it. But I mean, it's trying to follow up like a home run, like I was talking about with Game of Thrones. Like he didn't have it.
Yeah, it's tough. And so we have season 3. It kind of took a step towards its origins. So it's just got 2 small town detectives, really just one, really. Kind of going back. The weird thing here is just the chronological aspect of it is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is absolutely fascinating what they've done with that.
But it's also very hard to follow.
Sometimes. So fucking hot. Yeah, especially since like Sunday nights by like 8 o'clock, I've usually had like 4, 5, 6, 12 beers.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, huh? Where are we? What year is it?
Yeah. So without going into spoilers, the general concept, is you have a detective. The initial investigation was in 80.
It's 1980.
1980. Disappearance of 2 kids, and then there is a follow-up
and like reopening investigation
deposition in 1990, where the attorney general essentially is interviewing him about the investigation, and then you fast forward to current time where he is starting to suffer some memory issues.
Yeah.
So it just the challenging part is just it balances between timelines quite a bit,
and it doesn't do the like American audience, present day 1980, 1990 sort of thing. It just like the only time that you can tell that the time is about to shift is the camera focuses on him and he's looking straight at the camera.
Yeah,
and that's like him experiencing memory. And like one of the coolest parts about it is like, after you watch one of those episodes, like start thinking about something that happened to you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 17 years ago. And, for us, we're in our 30s, so we can think 10, 15 years ago, but you start getting into 20 years ago and it gets really, really fuzzy because we didn't really have memories back then.
Yeah.
But it's pretty crazy what they've done, and they've done a great job of like dealing with that. And I think I would say if anybody has a family member or a parent that struggled with Alzheimer's or is doing so, or dementia, it may not be a good show to watch because it's going to hit pretty close to home.
Yeah, absolutely. They tried to. One of the biggest problems we had, or at least I had, with season 2 was they had 3 characters, and they tried to stuff every single challenge, just personality issue. Like everybody had something. You had like the gay war hero that he hated himself, but he wanted to get his wife pregnant, and blah 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 blah.
I forgot about that.
The crooked cop who, they were all like. People have problems, and I know like they're anti-heroes, but this was like they tried to pigeonhole every fucking character issue they could into 3 people, to where like you could throw a whole DSM book at them.
Yeah, they were so fucked up,
and they'd have the full spectrum covered.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to season 1 of True Detective, which if you haven't seen it at this point, you're doing yourself a disservice, and this is about to get spoiled for you, but. You had Rust, who was overall a good person.
Yeah.
But that had a lot of bad shit in his past.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was a very good detective.
Mm-hmm.
Which...
Unbelievably good.
Yeah. And then you had Woody Harrelson, who was still a good detective. He seemed, for the most part, like he had his... at least structurally, he had his life together. He had a family. He had a wife. Cool wife. He had his vices too, but for the most part, it's just about him trying to maintain Rust.
Yeah.
While his life kind of falls apart a little too.
Well, he fucked up his own life.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his biggest problem, is that like he thought he was good, but he would do shitty stuff because he was like, I'm a good guy, I can get away with this.
Yeah.
But who's the first girl?
Alexandra
Daddario. Oh my God.
Daddario. But yeah.
That
there's some gifts from that from that season overall that are pretty interesting. But yeah, and then like the setting was great. There was a cool crime. It was a cool. At the end of the day, it was about these 2 I wouldn't even say that they were anti-heroes. They were flawed characters that were trying to, I think they were trying to help people, and they were trying to find out who was murdering these women.
Yeah.
And then I think the second season was about a fucking highway.
Yeah, it was a highway
in LA, and it's just about Vince Vaughn, and Vince Vaughn gets ripped off, and
Colin Farrell, and is his fat ginger kid his or not?
Yeah, it's just
so bad. And then you had the female
Rachel McAdams who liked butt stuff.
She liked butt stuff.
She straight up. One thing I fucking hate is she straight up murdered a guy in an episode and it's never addressed.
Yeah,
she stabs a dude to death. Sorry.
I need to go back and watch that one because I watched it once and I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever witnessed 8 hours of.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it had entertainment value.
It was alright. Yeah, it just wasn't, they could have put any other name on it. Just not True Detective.
Yeah.
This season seems good. Stephen Dorff seems like a good supporting character.
Mm-hmm.
We got our girl Gay from Letterkenny that's in there.
Oh, Letterkenny.
I have my theories about her. But
we can talk about Letterkenny later.
Yeah.
That's good. But yeah, Gay. What's her character's name? She's the producer. Has she even been introduced?
Yeah, it's like Olivia or something, because the son yells it to stop the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the big, so the dude's got dementia, and he was in Vietnam. And so it's right around that time where, it's not immediately after Vietnam, but there are definitely some Vietnam vets that are starting to cope with what folks are already aware of these days.
Yeah, it's called PTSD now, but back in those days they called it shell shock.
Yeah.
But it's, the human response to extreme violence and stress and trauma.
Over an extended period of time.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't even have to be. It can be one very traumatic moment. But
yeah.
That was really interesting. And one of the things that I love about the show is not just that they deal with memory. This season, they deal with memory between, I think it's set in 2017.
Yeah, I'd say present day within the last 5 years.
So, present day 1990, which we were alive for, but obviously have no memory of, and then 1980, which doesn't seem that long ago, but was almost 40 years ago.
Almost 40. Yeah.
And the way that they deal with the period stuff, each time period as it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is really cool. And the fact that in 1980 you had all these guys that were, when did Vietnam wrap up? It was 70 something, 72, 73. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with the Vietnam War, but a couple of years after Vietnam, and what those guys did and what those guys went through, and then how they tried to live a normal life. And you get into 1980, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel really bad trying to put a time on the end of the Vietnam War, because now that I realize I said that, that's no way right.
I didn't mean to leave you hanging, but I was not about to interject with any misinformation as well.
The problem with Vietnam is it goes from the late 50s into the late 70s, early 80s time frame, at least for the effects or what have you.
Yeah, it's tough.
It was a long fucking conflict.
So we're kind of thinking it's been kind of boring. I haven't watched the recent episode, but it's not boring. It's just slow, and I can accept slow. I feel like you can accept slow as long as I like the characters, so I'm okay with it.
If I can give one complaint, my one complaint is that everybody fucking mumbles in that show.
Yeah.
And I have to put on fucking subtitles.
Yeah.
It's so quiet.
I have to do that for Letterkenny, but that's for different. But, yeah.
Well, everyone has to for the first 2 seasons until you learn the dialect.
Shit, they just talk so fast. But, yeah.
That's the Texas side of 10-4 right there, buddy.
Yes, sir. So we'll see how it goes. Don't watch it if you have any kind of sensitivity to Alzheimer's or dementia.
Memory loss.
Because it is tough. But
you just feel bad for him too.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to go hug my grandma, who's no longer with us. But I remember a time where she was like, "And who are you?" And I was like, Are you kidding me? No.
Yeah, so this is going to be kind of jaded, but I was staying at my grandmother's house, and I was like in the living room. I'd been there for a couple days, but she handed me like $20. She's like, "Did Sally already get the pizza?" She thought I was the fucking pizza kid. But yeah.
The real part, or the real bad part, that along those same lines. So I accepted that my grandma may not remember me.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying that a grandson is not that important, but it was shortly after my grandfather died, and we were out there staying with her, and she walked out of her bedroom and looked at my dad and said, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
That was the one that I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's sad. You know, there's some interesting research coming out with like stem cells and other shit where it was blood transfusions. Fucking blood boys, maybe the cure to autism.
You got a blood boy?
I don't have a blood boy, but man,
blood boy rich yet.
I'm gonna tell you, if I ever have a fucking triple commas in the bank account, I'm gonna have me a blood boy.
Tres commas. Yeah.
That triple comma club. That's a Silicon Valley reference.
Tres commas. So we're going to RTX this year?
Man, fuck yes.
All right. So you know the dates, right?
Yeah, it's July
5th through the 7th.
Right after the 4th,
yeah. I'm going to lose some weight by then. That's why I wanted to plan for it. I'm going to lose some weight.
You want to lose some weight?
208 right now.
208?
Try to get to 185.
185. One of these days.
Try to get to 180. I think I can get to 180 by then. Just need to commit. If we commit, I'll do it.
Committed.
That
didn't work the last time y'all did that. We shouldn't use that.
Yeah, we had money then. I mean, we put money down on that.
Yeah. So that's actually an interesting thing. I saw this, and I haven't looked into it, but there is it's like a wagering app for losing weight.
Oh, really?
So I need to look more into it. It has to be. Like, obviously, none of these app companies are going to do anything without actually making money or profit off of it. But basically what it says is like, okay, if you are 250 pounds and you commit to losing 50 pounds, and the faster that you do it, you wager more money.
Okay.
And so the bid is like, if you meet your goal of losing 50 pounds in a year, so that's a pound a week.
Yeah.
They'll give you like $2 a pound.
How do you monitor that? Like, how do you verify
I don't know. I found it the morning of Deuce's wedding when I was hungover as shit and I was like browsing through it.
Yeah.
And like I saved it and then I lost it, and I'll see if I can find it again. But
I've always felt that I'm stubborn, mostly to a fault, and I'm also competitive. So if I had if I had a time frame, that's always my big thing, is having a time frame. Like when I went to Norway, I lost 35 pounds to go to Norway. I gained all of it back. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to go to RTX, you want to go, like drive down there Friday? What do you want to do?
So it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is the con, right?
Yeah.
If we're gonna do this, I don't know when we'll do it again.
Yeah.
I'd like to do it right.
Okay.
So let's head down there Thursday.
July 4th. Kaboom Town is on July 3rd, so we're okay there.
Okay, and then we'll have July 4th off.
Yeah, so we'll have to potentially just have to ask for Friday and Monday off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can come back because it ends on Sunday afternoon, right?
Sure, yeah.
But I would love to do that. Let's do it.
Okay. I was looking at hotels. Hotels weren't that bad right now. We're getting them tax returns soon.
Some of us are.
How are you not getting a tax return?
So, I made this mistake last year, where for some reason my HR department at my company, or when I signed up for it, I had 2 exemptions put. Now, whenever you have 2 exemptions, that's like you have a kid.
Yeah.
You're supposed to put 1 if you're, single, without a kid, whatever. So I put 1. And my wife at the time didn't. I don't think she'd been working for the full year. So we got married, filed together, and everything was okay. So I was going to have to pay like $3,000.
Yeah.
And with her average then, we actually made money. This year, I made a conscious effort to make sure that I had the right amount of money pulled out. And actually, if I filed independently, I would get money back. My wife had the 2.
Oh, no.
So we owe money. Which is, in some cases, good, because that means that the government didn't take too much from you. But, so, normally I'm really excited to file taxes, because it means I get money back. This year, I'm going to be waiting until April.
Okay. I'm sorry, buddy. Well,
it's all right. We have learned.
This is the first year where I didn't file taxes on the first day that you could.
Because the government was closed.
Yeah, that's right. But
fucking orange banana in the White House.
Yeah. So I was going to throw up the possibility of us talking about the State of the Union, but I know I didn't watch it, and I was pretty confident you weren't going to.
No, and I thought about it because, one of the things that I've tried to be in my more mature years is a more informed citizen. So I try and stay up with politics. I try and stay up and try and weed through the bullshit that is, the modern media when it comes to politics. But I just couldn't bring myself to watch that man talk for an hour. That man lie for an hour.
So my thing is right now, I would like to be more informed. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is just a problem with me, is that no offense to my coworkers, but they want to talk about that kind of stuff so much, and they want to get opinions and show their opinions so much that I'd just rather not know about it, so that I don't interject and argue with them with my opinions. Yeah. Does that make any sense? I would rather just stay as ignorant as possible and be like, oh, I don't know. It's easier to tune them out if, somebody is not like, well, Trump said that vaccine's bad, so I'm not going to vaccinate my kids. Because then
that's a whole other story.
I did a hyperbole on purpose, not to offend anybody. But
you trying to hide your political beliefs?
Yes, because I don't know what our 2 viewers politically believe.
So here's an interesting conversation that's related to politics in some way.
Yeah.
So the saying has always gone that the 2 things you don't bring up in polite dinner conversation is politics and religion.
Yeah.
Was it 3 or was it just 2?
I think there's 3. I can't remember the last one.
We fucking Rick Perry'd the shit out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, that means we're gonna get a job in the 3rd one.
Did you see that he was the designated survivor?
No.
Yeah, so that's one thing I did know about the State of the Union is, conceptually, whenever the State of the Union is happening, everybody in the line of succession is supposed to be there except for members of the cabinet. So whenever the State of the Union happens, in case there's a meteor that hits the Capitol building or a terrorist attack or something like that, designated survivor, right? So it's a member of the cabinet, and they chose fucking Rick Perry.
Oh man, they probably didn't choose him. He just got lost, and that's fuck it.
Fuck it. But I brought up the polite dinner conversation thing because when did it become you feel less of a person based on their political beliefs? Why can't we have debate? Why can't we have reasonable discourse about it?
So it's because I think it's about remembering, especially if you're at a semi-formal event, it's about remembering why you're there. And when you start to bring up stuff that you disagree about, it's kind of disrespectful to the hosts or the reason why you're there. If you get in an argument with somebody about Brown versus Board of Education at a fundraiser, that's kind of a dick move.
Fair enough. And I brought up the polite dinner conversation as more of a cultural saying, but
you're
with
right.
Your coworkers and even your parents. That's the one that bothers me the most. Is I can't have discussions with my family because they will think less of me because whatever. And I have a very poignant example. I told my uncle, and we were having a discussion about politics, and I told him that I voted for both Republican and Democratic presidential candidates. And I told him that I voted for Obama in 2012.
Yeah.
Because I thought that he was better than fucking Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
And he told that to my grandfather, And my grandfather told that to my mom, and my mom had this fucking, like, she pulled me aside and she's like, did you vote for Obama? Because David told your grandfather, and he is fucking pissed.
Are you doing drugs?
It's the tone that I got. Yeah. I was like, yeah, because like I'm a smart person, I can make my own opinions and whatever.
Yeah.
And you know what? Comparing Obama to Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just a politician versus like a fucking moron up there.
Yeah.
But it's night and fucking day, and like. The interesting thing that I've seen come out lately is every time you talk to somebody that voted for Trump, you know what the first thing they say is?
What?
It was better than Hillary.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of them voted for it, but like that has become the crutch for why. And the reason why is because they voted red, they didn't vote blue. And they think my measure of whether or not I will get into a political discussion with somebody is if they use the term conservative, Republican, liberal, or Democrat as an insult.
Yep, absolutely.
If you're like those fucking liberals or those dumb conservatives, like if you use that language, that means that you automatically assume that people that don't think the way that you do are lesser. And there's no point in talking to somebody like that because you're never going to correct that. And maybe that in itself is something that I should think differently about.
No, I mean, I think you're right. I'm from a region where there is one ideal, and any dissenting opinion is very shamed upon there.
Yeah.
So, that's the reason why I don't go home for the holidays anymore. It's just because it wasn't even about visiting my family. It'd just be about getting berated about my political beliefs. And I'm not like a radical Islam. It's nothing like that. But to them, I am.
Yeah.
It's just...
Because you have a centrist, like moderate, like reasonable opinion about, like, hey, I'm going to listen to facts and try to determine what I think is the best way to run this country. Yeah. And that is so frowned upon. I was so proud of our state because there was enough people in the state that a Democrat almost got elected.
Yeah.
Regardless of his opinions, what you thought about him, whatever. The fact that there was enough people with dissenting opinions from our incredibly red state that it almost became a possibility.
Yeah.
And you know what? I liked Beto. He had his flaws, but he's very green. He's very he's not green like Green Party. He's very new. Like he's very fresh. Like he needs a little smoothing out to be a proper politician per se. But I think there's good things in store for Beto. And there's people talking about Beto 2020, and I don't think now's the time.
From a qualification standpoint, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I like the guy. I voted for him. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I guess we just fucking declared our political views.
No, we didn't. We said that Beto O'Rourke was better than Ted Cruz for senator.
Yeah, but, I mean... It's like you can't win the high school starting job as a quarterback. You're probably not going to start for the New England Patriots. But
the counter to that argument, though, is that he, in a state that voted like 70% for Trump, brought it down to 52-47.
Yeah.
The fact that he took an extremely red state and brought it that close means that he will obviously win all the blue states, and the swing states, it's a toss-up. That's the argument for it.
Well, my argument is whether you believe... It's not really an argument. It's whether you believe that the President of the United States is a intellectual-based position or if it has some sort of an experience-based aspect to it. You had Trump, who says that majority of his experience prior to being president was his business making and his art of the deal and his negotiating skills, versus a bureaucrat who's been in the system for a while, who's worked with foreign officials. That's
just crooked.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Is that
experience versus ideals.
Yeah, I mean, you could put a Sunday pastor up there as the White House, and he may have the best of intentions and best of ideals, but
The world that I want to live in is Aaron Sorkin's world.
Yeah.
You watch The West Wing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I want Joseph Bartlett as a president.
Yeah.
I would want Joseph Bartlett as a Republican as a president.
Yeah.
Because that man, he's an economics doctor, which, woo, economics. But also, like, he's reasonable, he's calm, he's witty, he's extremely intelligent. I'm sorry, anybody who thinks that, and I'm not trying to say that it's, not trying to disparage you at all, but, like, anybody who thinks that anybody could be president is dead fucking wrong. Like, you have to be, I want the smartest motherfucker in the world, but not like a doctor or something like that per se, but I want somebody who's extremely intelligent to be in that position because they have to make extremely intelligent decisions.
How's that disparaging me?
Well, because you were like, you said whether you think it's intelligence versus experience. And not disparaging you, I'm sorry. Not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
But I do think that you need intelligence over experience. That's what I was trying.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that either. I'm just saying.
That's what I was trying to say.
Where you get with Beto is somebody who has like no experience and he may have ideas, but it's intentions versus the reality of the situation.
Yeah. Agreed. I get a little fired up about politics every now and then.
Yeah.
My wife had to calm me down because we were starting to talk about shit at dinner one time, and she was like, "No, shut the fuck up. We're having a good date night. Don't bring that shit up." And it's because, like, it bugs me so much that it's a popularity contest, to quote Joe Rogan. It's a popularity contest instead of people honestly trying to think about who is the best qualified candidate. And it's partly because, and I mean, this is, anybody who's listened to Joe Rogan's podcast knows everything I'm about to say here, but it's a popularity contest for a position that controls everything.
I mean, I think the biggest problem is, and this isn't my unique thought, is just that regardless of who's running, for the most part, we're kind of scraping the quintessential bottom of the barrel, because a lot of people a good chunk of people that are completely capable intellectually and professionally taking over that and doing a great job won't beneath themselves to put themselves in front of us for public service.
Yeah, because your entire life becomes public record.
Yeah.
Everything you've ever done, everything you've ever thought, every decision you've ever made, every parking ticket that you didn't pay.
Especially now. Facebook, it's only going to get worse.
Maybe that's the best thing that came out of Trump's presidency, is how much of his negative past just got looked over.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be right there.
There may be some benefit there, but to go even to down that rabbit hole, the fact that the way that we choose who we get to choose is two entities that are legally separated from the government.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party and the Republican Party technically do not have any direct ties with the federal government or any other government. Yeah. They're separate operating entities, and they get to decide, who is running for each platform. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's 100% why it was Trump Hillary in 2016 when it should have been Bernie Trump.
Yeah, probably.
Because the entire country was done with establishment politics and they wanted something different. And the Republicans got it primarily because Trump, for all of his flaws, is a charismatic, boisterous, fucking just reality TV star that knows when to get those zingers in.
It was almost like a tale of two cities. You had the Democratic Party where they kind of chokehold Bernie out of the primary, right? They didn't do debates. So they had their power candidate and they fucking stiff-armed the fuck out of Bernie to a fault to where they lost. Whereas the Republicans were fighting tooth and nail for Trump not to get the fucking primary.
Yeah.
Right? He shit on all their people. I mean, eventually because of Trumpeters, but
yeah.
I think if they could go back, they would have applied the Democratic approach or the Democratic National Convention, whatever.
Where they tried to control the outcome more. And to me, what's interesting about that is it shows that the Democratic National Party is inherently more corrupt than the Republican National Party, because they were like, all right, well, whoever wins. And Trump was just murdering every single candidate that they brought up there, like it was a stand-up comedian, like battle rap.
Yeah.
And then the Democratic Party was just kind of doing everything behind closed doors.
It was Fabius the Delay. We're not going to debate you. We're not going to confront you. Mm-hmm. We're going to back all the way up until it's time.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
That's what it was. But you know what? I mean, people are still screaming for Bernie to run, and he's going to be like an 82-year-old man. And honestly, he's not going to be a good candidate. The thing that concerns me is, I mean, you can tell from the way that I've talked over the last couple of minutes, is that I am not a Trump fan. I was not a Hillary fan either. But, I mean, lesser of two evils in my mind would have been Hillary. The thing that really fuck, hell.
You got this. You can do this.
Reset in 3, 2, 1. I don't have
it. If Trump really wanted to lock Hillary up, he'd just add her to his cabinet.
There it is. Boom. Boom.
I was trying to buy some time.
Yeah, it's all right. It's gone. It's just fucking gone. My brain starts running a million miles an hour when we get onto shit like this.
Well, maybe we should stop.
We probably should, because we've lost half of our audience.
Yeah, we lost 100%.
Well, yeah, of course we have, because we haven't uploaded in 5 months.
I mean, we could upload it and it'd still be the same amount of viewers and listeners as it was an hour ago.
Probably. But I don't know. I'm hopeful for the future. Oh, that's what I was going to say. When Trump won, the one thing that I was hopeful for is that hopefully this would highlight a lot of the problems in our democracy.
Yeah.
And that, people would be like, well, shit. Okay, we got to do better next time. But it's the same thing is happening again and again and again. And
how bad can you get?
It's the Nelson effect. And, honestly, all right, hold up. This is one of the thought exercises that I have to bring up whenever I start getting down this rabbit hole and I start getting worked up. How much has it affected you directly?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, very nuanced parts. And for me in particular, it's still, I mean, it's more than a previous president. The real curveball, the real part where it started to change for a lot of Americans was that shutdown, man. That fucking sucked. And you can blame it on Democrats all you want. I don't care. Like, if the art of the deal, dude, couldn't negotiate that, the guy can eat a dick.
Yeah, seriously. And the biggest part, and I'm not a master negotiator, I'm not a good salesperson, but he came out and said, I'm going to shut the government down. You can blame this on me because I'm going to do this. And it wasn't until he realized a month later that, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. And he started trying to pivot and blame the Democrats and whatever. Yeah. And, he basically said, no, it was me.
I guess, my thought is just, you have all year to negotiate that shit. And then at the 11th hour, that's when you're like, oh, where's my wall? Oh, we're shutting down because I have my wall. You knew it was a problem last year.
You know why they did it this year? It's because last year it was Republican House, Republican Senate, Republican President.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to shut it down. And they're like, well, you only have Republicans to blame.
Yeah.
For not passing it. And this year they had the scapegoat in fucking Nancy Pelosi, or as he calls her, Nancy.
Yeah.
He could blame it on her.
Civil fucking servants, ladies and gentlemen.
It's team sports.
Yeah.
And anybody that says, like I said previously, that they use liberal or conservative as a swear word, you're playing team sports. You're playing, Philly, Dallas.
Yeah, and I apologize. I take that back. It's not that you're scraping the bottom of the barrel for civil servants, because not to explicitly say Nancy Pelosi is one of these type of people, but there are certain people that care about the greater good that will throw themselves in front of the fucking dunking station for you to shit on them because they feel like the overall bigger picture is worth it.
Willing to make that sacrifice.
You also have the egotistical, sociopathic people that are just in there for power. And so that's just where it sucks. We should have the tribal system where, hey, you're the smartest guy in our city. You're the doctor. You can fucking rationalize and diagnose everything. We're making you our fucking senator, whether you like it or not. And that's how we move forward.
So I'm glad you brought it back around to this because this is something I wanted to bring back up, but I didn't have a chance to. So one of my problems with politics and power in general is that people that want it are not the people that you want in those positions. Exactly. So the people that get power are not the people that you want to have power. You want, the Joe Schmo who has been working his entire life but reads books and is well educated, and he worked his day job in a car mechanic shop his whole life to put his 2 kids through school so they can have a better life, but he tried his best to maintain that level of knowledge. Like, that's a guy that has responsibility. He has respect for people. Like, that's the kind of person that you want in a civil servant. Not somebody who's like, I want to be in front of everybody. I want to tell the people what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I want to figure out how this can benefit me. So I've one of the things that I thought would kind of fix this issue, and people have scoffed at me when I brought up this idea, but it was around the time that Dan Carlin was doing his Reform Storm thing, where he was trying to figure out how you fix the Gordian knot in politics, which is the corruption in politics.
Yeah.
Is like, how do you fix corruption? And one of my theories was, okay, you have a draft. You have a lottery system where you have some certain minimum requirements where, and not to be, to disparage people of lower income status or anything like that, but you got to have a college education. You got to at least have that because you have to have upper level intelligence or whatever. Or you got to meet some sort of intelligence criteria. You can't have like a felony conviction or like, a background in crime or something like that. But like, once you meet the criteria and get a selected pool, then it's a lottery system.
Yeah.
And then a randomly chosen person versus another randomly chosen person. And, you have, respected journalists sit down with them for like 8 hours to talk to them about what they think about, what their qualifications are, whatever. And, if they don't meet it, you put them back in the pool, you draw somebody else. But once you settle on somebody, and once you settle on somebody is a very key, because then you have people in power trying to pick candidates. So, whatever. But then, those 8-hour tapes become available to the public, and the public gets to choose among those candidates who they think is best possible.
Yeah.
That is the most fair way and the best way to deal with the fact that anybody that runs for public office, like, there's going to be some level of wanting that attention.
Yeah.
The fact that people with power are not the people that you want to have power, like, how do you fix that?
And then also, it's anonymous. Like,
yep.
I guess maybe not. That's how you get to, what was it, equilibrium, where the voice was
yeah.
He's been dead for years, but yeah. I agree with you there.
And you know what? One of the you touched on it with public service. So a lot of people think about public service and they think about presidents, Supreme Court justices, congressmen. Some of the most powerful and like to your day-to-day lives are your local politicians. And the lack of attention and respect and detail that goes into the populace making decisions that directly affect them by voting every year in November is something that's pretty shocking to me.
Yeah.
And to the point that I have voted 4 years straight at this point.
Yeah.
I voted in off year elections, and that's something when we started this discussion where I was trying to say that I'm trying to be a better citizen by being informed. One of the things that I do is before a vote comes up, like, I really go hard into the information on the the candidates and the issues and all the things that pop up. And one of my favorite things was in 2017. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2017. So not this past year, but the year before that, there was a bond before. Everybody knows we're in Dallas, right? I'm gonna go and say Dallas. There was a bond available in Dallas where a vote where they were looking to raise bonds and they were going to raise taxes and whatever, and they were going to spend $1.5 billion over the next 10 years.
Oh yeah.
On public works, street, public utilities, parks, like that sort of thing. $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
100,000 people out of 1.6 million people voted.
Yeah.
100,000 people.
That's what's funny is because in Dallas, the local legislature, I can't say that word very well, that gets a lot of attention was the pants sagging or the plastic bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, if you really, if you have a passion for it, and if you really want to see local government, like in the through and through, go to a school board meeting, man.
Yeah.
Those are cool. But yeah, I think.
Yeah. So if we can leave it on any note, every November or every October, whenever your elections are coming up, spend a week. That's all it really takes.
It's the good thing about our day and age is the information is super easy to find online. Like you can find their stances, you can find their positions, you can see the local propositions. Last year in Dallas, particular, I don't live in Dallas anymore, but you guys had the legislation for the school bus situation.
Yep.
Dallas notoriously had a very, I don't know, I should say poorly run school bus, but it was bad enough to where the state took over because I think there's a lot of embezzlement and stuff going on. So there was the proposition to reinstitute the school buses. That's all I remember from Dallas because I lived in Dallas the year prior. Here we had some other stuff, but I won't go into that because I don't want to reveal our
general location.
Yes.
And on that note, the last thing that I will say, do not vote straight party ticket. Take the fucking time to circle everybody's name.
I'm going to be honest, so I'll take it there. Yeah, not only just that, but if you are not informed about a position, if you don't know who the District 2 judge is in, I don't know, Potter County, do not vote for one of those counties. Just leave it blank. It's not a SAT. You don't have to fill in every fucking circle. Just vote for the people that you're informed about. Don't affect an election because you don't know something and you just want to feel like you need to support a Democrat because they might be batshit fucking crazy.
Yeah, and that's how you end up with, corrupt city politicians who just are there because they're running on the platform of what's local.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, we got a little political there.
We did. I felt we did a good job of maintaining at least somewhat of a bias. I don't view myself as a Democrat, but I view myself as a centrist, and with the way that politics are leaning this way, central is Democrat, unfortunately. But I voted for Republicans, and I even voted for some Republicans in the most recent election because I felt like they were better off than their Democratic counterparts.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
we'll see. Maybe we need another Mateo influence. Maybe Whoop Days. We'll see.
Perhaps.
We'll see what our viewers
want.
Yeah, one's on our honeymoon. The other one, we have no affirmation that they actually listen. But
so go ahead and drop a comment, hit a like.
What was it? Like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe, yo.
Dude, I will buy you a beer because I have the capacity to do so.
Yeah, I will figure out who you are and I will buy you a beer.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm D.
I'm JT. Thanks for listening.
Happy January.
Happy February.
Yeah.